so I want to get into, for those
Yeah.
who may be clicking on this, who yeah do remember the days of probably what 2006 to 2012 ish of all these radio appearances. You got into some legendary fights with these guys, but they were always fun. And I feel
Yeah.
like you and I were speaking about this the other night. How you said it's hard to really keep up with professional comedians who do this for a living. But I felt like you always had these comebacks that they didn't even know what to respond. I'll always remember like when you were on with Anthony and he's cursing you out and he's giving you and you go, Anthony, when is the last time someone called you sexy? And he didn't even know. He was like, "What?" So I always felt like you found a way to keep up with these guys and keep them on their toes. And if you go on YouTube and you just look up Ian Halper and Opie and Anthony, you're gonna see like you're gonna see at least 20 or so
Okay.
appearances. And this is when they could get anyone on that show, but like you were so much fun to listen to, and you kept people glued to their radio.
With Anthony, in later years, I realized the guy is a comedic genius because he called me to be on his new network, Compound Media, like 2 weeks after he opened, and I thought it was a joke. I said, "Dude, I thought you hated my guts. We just sparred for like 10, 12 years." He said, "No, it was all an act." He said, "I love you." Anyhow, I went on and I learned a lot about him. The guy comes into the studio and just riffs an opening monologue, man. Better than Fallon, better than Kimmel, better than any of these guys. Like comedic genius. I give him props for that. And honestly, he's one of the only people that really scares me as an interviewer because that guy can just cut through you like a knife, man, in a second. He's that talented. Opie was a bit of a lightweight, in my opinion. He wasn't, by radio standard, somebody cutting edge or had anything. I mean, he's the guy who I think is lucky to have gotten that far. Whereas you look at guys like Stern, even Joey Reynolds, these guys are legends who are real radio people per se. They've studied the business. Do you remember Art Bell?
I think that's before my time. I know the
Yeah,
name. I know the name.
very. I mean, these guys are all legends in radio and really know their craft. Even Mancow out of Chicago. I mean, Mancow, I've been to studios several times, and the thing that freaked me out about Mancow the most is he's actually mixing the show as he's talking. He's behind the board. I've never seen that before. Like really, the commercials, everything, and the music. Mancow's doing it all. That guy is a genius, radio genius. So those shows that you allude to with Opie and Anthony, look, I just walked in there blind, man. I had no idea what really was going on. There was a whole cast of characters from Troy Kwan to Sam Roberts, all these people, Eric Nagel. Do you remember Eric?
Yes, yeah.
All these people were floating around that studio. They actually had a big staff. The old
And you mentioned the other night, Steve Carlisi, who we
Yes,
lost.
Steve was great, a really nice guy. I was shocked when he was found dead in I think it was like 211 or something, and or 210. I don't remember around that time. Steve was a young guy, I think it was like 36 years old, very talented producer, and really was sort of the backbone of that show. Now, Travis is a good friend of mine, Travis Teft, who took over from Steve. So these guys last, I mean, he's very talented. These guys lasted the test of time. But going back to the show the other day with Jim and Sam, it's a bit different. These guys came in to replace legends. Opie and Anthony are living legends in New York, and it's very tough to step into to fill big shoes like that. It's almost impossible. It's like I pity the guy who I don't even know if Sirius has a plan for who's going to replace Stern, but
Yeah.
whoever goes into that seat, they really are going to have a tough time. If you remember It was David Lee Roth one.
Yes, I was gonna mention this.
Yeah,
Yes,
and
yes.
he couldn't do it. He lasted 3 months. You just can't fill these shoes so quickly. Like, love or hate Rush Limbaugh, nobody's replaced him since.
Dan
You know,
Bongino has done very well, I know, but yeah, I mean,
yeah,
Rush is a name everybody knows.
yeah, exactly. So it's a different marketplace today. The social media, the influencers are the stars today. And those guys in radio's dinosaur today. Like when you go to Sirius, it's dead. It used to be so vibrant.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You would go in there and you'd see, I mean, I have pictures with so many people over the years, man. I have a picture with Caitlyn Jenner. I have a picture with Mike Piazza.
Wow.
Anyone you can think.
Was
I
Piazza a
bored out
nice
the
guy?
Kardashians, you know?
Yeah. Was Piazza a nice guy? I heard
Very
he's
nice guy. Very cool
yeah.
guy. And I'd love to get him on the show. Our friend Rudy Reyes did that reality show with him. I've been trying to get Piazza on, man. I know he's a big supporter of the military, which works in well with what we do.
Yeah, I thought Piazza, for years was the face of New York,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, another guy, who was very interesting back in the day and doing a lot of those shows was oh, what's his face? Why my
Who
memory
you're
is
thinking of?
my memory escapes me now. He was always on Sirius doing the shows. Oh,
Bubba the Love Sponge or
well, Bubba, actually, that's one name I was thinking of was Bubba. And then what's his name? The guy at the UFC was always on there, Dana White. He was
okay,
always
yeah, yeah.
the best. And, I think Sirius made the UFC, to be honest with you, because Dana White was always doing the shows. And I think he used Sirius to some extent. I don't know if he'd be successful today using Sirius because I don't believe Sirius is as big as it used to be.
I think I know who you're thinking of if you're mentioning the UFC. Are you thinking of Scott Farrell?
Oh yeah, he was on all the time. Yeah,
Super cool guy, man. Well, he had a show. He was on Howard's
that's right.
channels. Shake it
Did you
up.
did you meet him?
Yes. Oh, super nice guy, man. Really nice guy.
But there's not many people left in that building anymore. That I mean, very few. When I
But
was in
there's less you need now. I mean, so
yeah,
many people could work remote, people, especially I got into radio in 2006. So that was before voice tracking and that was before people had all this equipment in their house. So if you wanted to DJ a 3 hour rock show or pop show, whatever, you were there in the studio. Now you could do it from your house and you don't have to do it in real time. You could just record that was the Backstreet Boys, and that was In Sync, and that was Britney Spears, and then you just cut it up, you put it with the music, and you probably spent 10 minutes recording a 3 hour show.
yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That is, but that's the beauty of this. You don't have to show up every day and kiss ass. You could just do it yourself and find a crowd, build a crowd, and away you go. And they say nobody ever got rich selling razors, you get rich selling blades. Well, what are your blades? Is it products? Is it books? Is it videos? You have t-shirts, that's when it becomes interesting, is all the merch.
Yeah, what I just hope is that there is still, and I think there always will be, a demand for this type of thing because with AI now, I mean, you're a guy who's released so many books, and I think what we're doing right now, I don't think could be replaced with AI. But what can
No,
be is if you wanted to record your books as audiobooks, why do we need Ian Halperin to sit in a studio for 12 hours, which is probably what it takes, as
yeah,
opposed to we could just you have so
sure.
many samples of your voice online you could have what I would never know is AI Ian Halperin reading the Michael Jackson book.
And nobody would know the difference.
No one would know.
Exactly. But no, the beauty about what you're doing is you're doing something very niche and there's a demand for this. And you and your partner, Chris, AI could never replace you guys. It's impossible. And what you've built up in just a few years is amazing. And I think the best is yet to come, Ian, because I'm
Yeah.
a big fan.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.